Two. And hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to License to View. This is a podcast on the internet where two best friends get together and talk about pop culture news. It's a Saturday morning. I'm
Yes.
Jason. That's Zach. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Just another busy week here at the Grieger household. Not really. There really wasn't much that happened. I can't lie to the people like that. There really wasn't much that was going on. But I did have the opportunity, skipping straight into what I've been doing this
Oh yeah,
week.
go for it, man.
I had the opportunity to go to the theater and watch a movie that I had been interested in seeing for some months now. I think we originally talked about the trailer when it first dropped because it just
Right.
looks so gorgeous, and so I was finally able to see it, which was the Lupin the III, the
Oh
first
yeah, yeah,
movie, which played in theaters. Fuck, dude, this is a fun movie.
yeah.
This is a fun movie. I mean, it feels like it's funny because before we watched it, the director of the movie, now I can't remember his name, but he basically had like a short video, or it might have actually been the director of this. No, it had to have been the director of the movie because the director of the series died.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. The manga's dead. Yeah.
yeah. Um, but he sent out a short video basically saying that like he'd been inspired from like classic Hollywood movies forever, and so the fact that like the movie was being released in America, like such a large audience, was like something he was really happy about but nervous about and all that stuff. But like watching the movie, it just feels like a classic Hollywood movie. I mean,
Right.
especially I mean, it's clear that it takes like stuff from like Indiana Jones for sure, like especially like The Last Crusade, like it takes heavily from that.
Right.
I mean, the whole thing is based around the fact that like the whole premise of the movie is based around the fact that Lupin, the legacy of like his grandfather is that
Mm-hmm.
there was this diary that like his grandfather wasn't able to steal or whatnot, and so he's trying to get it back, and basically he gets it back and discovers the contents leads to like a lost civilization artifact that's basically like a what's the it's like a perpetual motion machine or something like that, something that like makes like an infinite amount of power or something like that.
Mm.
um so it becomes this like global cross-trekking adventure for them to like try to figure out like where this artifact is and like take it before the Nazis can get their hands on it because the Nazis show up.
Right.
um and I mean, basically the whole thing of them like trying to get to the artifact is the Last Crusade, where they're like going through the three trials, and they have to like use the diary to figure out like how to stop each of the three trials so that they don't get murdered. So I mean, that's very like the Last Crusade-ish, but it's still fun. Um, I love the charisma of all the characters a lot. I mean, I've watched a little bit of the original Lupin the Third series.
Right.
The original, I think it was like 70s or 80s or something like that. I watched like about 20 episodes of it. And I mean, it's a fun series. They're all one shots, but it's all just, based around him being a thief and trying to steal something, um, which is super fun. I actually haven't watched any of the other like Lupin the Third movies. Like I know everybody raves about Miyazaki's one,
Mm-hmm.
the Castle of Caligostro, I think is what it's called.
Yep.
I know it's on Netflix, so I want to watch it now that I've like watched this Lupin the Third movie. I was like, oh, this movie's great. Then like, there's no reason I shouldn't watch the Castle one because it's Miyazaki, so all of his movies are fantastic and his plots are super fun. So I really want to dig that too. But yeah, I just love it so much, and it looks great. I mean, it's as far as like a CGI anime movie, I think it's like one of the best I've ever seen. Where it just literally looks like they just took 2D and
Yeah.
like put some depth behind it.
Yeah.
It's like the
Definitely.
best translation for 3D or for CGI anime that like I've ever seen. And I think it allows them to do a lot of creative stuff, especially with like the plot and like using the device that ends up being able to like create mini black holes somehow. I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It's like ancient technology shit, but the way they're able to animate that and make that look, I think it allows the I think it just looks a lot more impressive than if it was just 2D
Right.
animation. Um, So yeah, it was super fun. I highly recommend you watching that if you get the chance to.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the trailers for it.
Mhm.
And it looks great, and I used to like Lupin a lot,
Mhm.
like in high school.
Yeah.
Never, I haven't watched the last couple series because like
Hmm.
every couple years they do like a
Yeah.
new season or something.
I know there's one on Amazon right now, which is the latest one, I think, Lupin the Fourth.
I haven't the last I watched like the first season of like Fujiko's show,
Hmm.
and like the animation was okay on it. It was like real artsy fartsy. I didn't really love it.
Mm.
Um, so it's been a while since I've seen it. But
Hmm.
I mean, I like the character. I like the premise. I like the live action movie a lot. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Um, there was an anime crossover in high school. Well, when we were in high school, so this is no
Hmm.
12 years ago now, I guess.
Yeah.
13 years ago, whatever it is. But where it was a case closed crossover with
I
Lupin,
saw that.
and
Yeah,
that
it was like,
was really
yeah,
fun.
Detective Conan.
And I never cared for Conan as a character,
Hmm.
but it was a really fun crossover. But
Yeah, I don't think I've ever really watched Detective Conan. I think I maybe tried to watch one episode, and I don't know why. I just didn't get further into it, which is surprising because I love detective mysteries and all that stuff. But I don't know. That's
I
one
think
series that I've never gotten into.
what stops me from reading it or watching it, I guess primarily because reading it, because I'm not gonna watch that. But
Hmm.
what stops me, and I thought about reading it probably a few months ago when I was looking for new like crime stuff to read,
Hmm.
is that it's never ending. Like
Yeah.
if like there was like a progression to the character in the sense of like, okay, well he's a kid again, but he's still getting older. Like if there was like a, a end in sight or an overarching story, which I don't think there is one. I think it's just a bunch of like Agatha Christie stories.
Yeah.
Then I have no desire to read that because it's been going on for 30 years. You know, like Ipo's
That
been
was the one thing I think that's it's kind of confusing to me about the whole Detective Conan character because he's like a kid, but he's also an adult. And sometimes I've
he's a
seen
high
him where
school
he like
kid.
solves
He's a
cases
high
and he's
schooler.
still an adult,
He's a high
or he's high
schooler
schooler.
who gets turned into a kid by some like magic box or something.
Okay.
So that's why he's so.
But he can like turn back into a high schooler. Like I've seen him solve stuff where he's a high schooler
I
again.
think maybe that's like prequel stuff.
Maybe.
Maybe like that's still when he's a teenager.
So the main storyline is just him as a
Him
kid.
as a kid, yeah.
Interesting.
From what I understand, I've never read it. I've only know what I've seen from like basic
Right.
like old anime DVDs, and we're gonna play a trailer for Case Closed before the
Yeah.
the main stuff. Um, but from what I understand, he's there's no end in sight. You
Hmm.
know, even Ippo
Interesting.
has like progression, like in the sense of like
Yeah.
he's not boxing anymore. He has CTE. He's retired or he's a loser.
Hmm.
Whereas like Case Closed is like okay, we're gonna it makes money,
Yeah.
so I'll just do this forever, which works in in like the Western comic book sense. Like okay, well
Yeah.
Batman's never gonna not make Batman money, so we'll just continually
Right.
make Batman shit. Like Bruce Wayne's been how old for how long? Like
Yeah.
he's
He's
been
like what, mid forties for
because
like
fucking
the
like
past 100 years.
superhero aging is like okay, we'll go to Marvel because Marvel has more quote unquote realistic. It's our world that happens in realistic time, whatever. Okay, well, Peter Parker's been de-aged like twice or something, but like he should be
He's still
like
like
he should be like
mid
80 years
30s.
old.
Yeah, he's
He's
still
like
like mid
yeah,
30s, but he's like, yeah,
he should be like
he should be
80
way older.
or some shit like that. So,
Yeah.
um, but I know Monkey Punch. I think that's the guy's name.
Yeah.
Or Lupin. I know he
Hmm.
died a couple years back, and
Yeah.
I remember when he died. I thought about reading the original stuff. It's
Hmm.
just so hard to find
Yeah.
in English.
Well, that's the thing. It was just like even me watching like the original series, like I had to go to one of my sites to watch it. Like I couldn't even find it on like a regular
Yeah,
like Crunchyroll or Funimation or anything like that. Like I don't know, something about those old series that it's just so hard. It's so difficult to find them. Um, which I mean, reading that original series, it's like you really don't have to read. You really don't have to watch that much out of like the first like five episodes because I think in the like the fifth episode or something is like Goemon joins them and then he's there for like the rest of the time. And
yeah.
like once Goemon joins them, like that's the whole team. So then you can kind of just like skip around. So I kind of thought of doing that because I know it's like there's not really continuity between the series. It's just a different. take or art style on the character and whatnot. And sometimes he has a different jacket. So
Yeah, it's blue, green, red.
yeah, I think those are the three ones. Yeah.
But so what else did you check out besides that?
So I checked out that.
Also, what
Uh,
was it English or Japanese, by the way?
I watched it in Japanese. I
Okay.
think there was an English dub. I think. I don't know. I bought my ticket so long ago that I couldn't remember if there was like an English option or not. But I watched it
Right.
in Japanese. It
Okay.
was great.
Okay.
I remember it being. I mean, I can't say for sure because it's been like a year or so since I watched the original Lupin series, but it sounded very similar to the people who voiced the original.
Yeah.
It was probably not. It was probably the people that voiced like the anime show or something like that. But I mean, it still sounded like Lupin. Um, so yeah, it was super fun.
Cool.
Um, what else did I watch? Well, since I don't think we're doing this topic anymore.
All right.
Because
That's
I
cool.
finished it, but I watched the second season of Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah.
Um,
What a letdown.
yeah,
What a
I
letdown.
mean, there was a couple of interesting episodes, but like, it's nowhere near as strong as the first season.
It was so rough
Because
for
the
me.
first season started off so strong with the rooftop one, which was like such a compelling and interesting mystery.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, there was nothing in this season that like compared to that
Literally,
like legit mystery.
we started up the first episode, and I was like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
I was like
don't even
so
know what the
bored.
first
It was
episode
the black kid in New York who goes missing. The little kid at the park.
That's the last episode.
Oh, no, not in the way that it's fucking done on Netflix. I hit play, it took me right to that episode.
Did it?
It was so
Oh,
annoying.
that's
Yeah,
weird.
like
Because that was like
you
the literal.
scroll
Because the two kids go missing in New
if you
York. That's like the
scroll
last episode that I watched
if you
yesterday.
scroll Netflix on the actual app, it's the
Mhm.
last episode. But if
Mhm.
you hit play on like the fucking like our TV app, and
It plays it
on the way it's
first?
ordered, it's the first one.
That's so weird.
Because you know how you could scroll. Netflix does a thing where it scrolls from like the first episode down to the bottom, and then you scroll
Right.
up.
Mm-hmm.
So it played that episode first, and I was like,
Interesting.
I realized that the order was messed up when it was playing. And I was like, this is also a bad episode to end the season on. Like I thought I
Yeah.
didn't think it was a good episode.
No, I mean there wasn't really anything that was super compelling. I mean, I think the most interesting one was they had the ghost stories from after the Japanese tsunami,
Right.
which was interesting stories, but I don't know, it didn't really compare to like because after that I watched the Alien one again, and I was like, that's a much more compelling episode than like these Japanese ghost stories. I don't know.
Well, do you think it's a personal bias because you like aliens more than ghosts?
It's possible, but I do like ghost stories too. I don't know. It might just be that I like aliens more than ghosts. That's entirely possible. I might have also just been like out of this series because like I scrolled through the episode list and I was like, no aliens again, Mao. but but I'm trying to think. I mean, as far as like the true crime ones, shit, I can't even remember off the. They're all so forgettable. I can't even. The only
There's
one
like
I can't.
the White House one, and then
Okay, that one was boring. I did not like that one because that's just I'm watching an old man go crazy in the middle of a park and he probably like got into a dumpster and died. Like I don't care that like
yeah,
they're like, oh, he got all this stuff, and I was like, yeah, he probably got crushed by a goddamn garbage truck. What else? Oh, the mother. That one was like super boring to me. I don't know. I mean, it got compelling at the end, but it took way too long to ramp up to this point where it was like, oh yeah, she was found like 30 miles away, and there's no way she could have got there. I was like, okay, that's compelling, but like,
well, if you just read,
I'm like
you just
40
read,
minutes into it.
you just read the like descriptions, and it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, these you shouldn't have.
The one that was most compelling to me, just because I couldn't believe that I was actually watching this and people were this incompetent, was the one with the prisoner who escaped. And I was like,
I didn't
how
watch that.
I can't believe we were really this incompetent. Where it was like, it was a guy that like, I think it was a black guy from, shit, where was he from? I want to say like, in the middle of like the Midwest or something like that. But he like is an admitted child killer. Like he killed this like 12-year-old girl.
Right.
He like went to jail for it. And then he basically was like able to like smooth talk the guards
Oh, okay.
and like get a part of this like this
work
prison release program
Yeah.
where they allowed him to go Christmas shopping by himself, and then was like, he didn't come back.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't believe he didn't come back. I can't believe he took advantage of this stupidly broken system where we allowed him to go off shopping in a mall with no
Yeah.
supervision. I was just so.
It's like, oh, unsolved. Yeah.
I
Duh. Who
just couldn't
cares?
believe that.
I feel
You
like.
had the secret agent one I thought was kind of cool with the woman who like died by herself in the hotel room because she was definitely a spy and got taken out by her government.
Well, I feel like there are so many. To me, that's not creepy either. Like that's not
Mm,
worth. That's not worthy either. Because I was like, okay, I've read enough spy books to understand, like,
yeah.
to understand that. Like, we have video footage of like Israeli hit teams in hotels, like going in,
Yeah.
and, like, there's literally video of like from like 2011 or 12
Mm,
of a hotel elevator where
hmm
like a bunch of Jewish assassins walk into the elevator, and then they leave. However many minutes later, and there's someone dead in their hotel room. Like, okay, we gotcha. We know what it is.
mm.
It's a Mossad hit team. I'm not worried about it. But like,
I didn't know too much about that, so that was an interesting
but
aspect
but
of it for
there's
me.
so many like, I'm not saying that's what happened with this lady. I'm just saying that's saying
Yeah.
like the concept of like a hotel room being a hit room.
Yeah.
It literally like it's the most spy thing in the world.
Yeah.
But like it's the idea that like you're telling me since the show stopped airing, like whenever 2000 or whatever 1999 or whatever year it ended,
These
like
are the only compelling
there's the
mysteries you
only
can.
ones we can come up with. There's a billion of them.
Yeah.
Literally, go on your podcast app and just find fucking any true crime shit and just
Yeah.
scroll.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, gotcha, found it.
Yeah, I think that's part of the problem, but it's also like I don't know. Maybe it's at that point where it's like they've been out of the game for so long, and you've got other shows like 2020 and Dateline that like kind of do the same thing with unsolved mysteries sometimes. Not all the time. Usually they like to have more of a conclusion,
Well,
but
usually they want to interview the conclusion stuff. So I mean, like,
yeah. So I mean, there's kind of that, but maybe it's just I don't know. Maybe they're trying to like figure out stuff that like hasn't been done before. But if that's what they're trying to do, it gets to the point where it's like, yeah, this stuff hasn't been done before because like it's not that good.
yeah, right. Who's gonna care about that? Yeah, I don't think I want to finish it.
Yeah, I don't know what you have left to do now that like you finished the last one first.
Yeah, I
So
don't think I'm gonna
I don't know
finish
what you
it.
have left, but
It
um,
just isn't really.
but
Again,
it's
like looking through all the list of them, I
yeah.
wasn't very impressed.
No, yeah, the first season was a much stronger lineup because I mean the first one you had the rooftop one, you had the guy that like was killed at that party, which was like a super compelling episode, where he's like killed in, like the
Yeah.
back of someplace.
Mm-hmm.
That was great, and then you had the alien one.
Yeah.
There were some weak ones in that one too, but I mean it still had standouts amongst
Yeah.
that.
The
Like I remember
French one was weak.
the French one was weak. The hair salon one was kind of weak. I felt
Yeah.
that one
To me,
was
that
like
was like
kind of yeah.
obvious.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, gotcha. I know. This is
Yeah, I was like,
fucking.
oh yeah, the former husband definitely
Yeah,
killed her.
we know what happened. Yeah, yeah, we know what
Yeah,
happened.
yeah. But yeah, I was just I don't know. I wanted to like it so bad because I like this kind of stuff a lot, but there just wasn't a lot there.
So
And it was like I could tell how bad it was because at one point I fell asleep during one and I had to wake up and
yeah,
rewatch it again, and I was
yeah,
like, oh, I'm about to fall asleep again. This is not good.
yeah. That was me watching the kid one. I was like on my phone. I'm like,
I wasn't too bad with that one because that one's short, and I think that was another thing too that I felt like a lot of these were shorter than the first season. It was like 3 episodes that were like 35 minutes
well, my
long.
reaction to the kid one is like, oh, you mean you didn't do your job and your kid got kidnapped? Okay, yeah, that's called life.
Eh, I guess.
Like you
I don't
had,
know. I mean,
and they kept saying like they kept saying like, there are so many of us there watching the kid. We were to take turns to go. You told me 5 people didn't do their job?
uh,
Because if I had a kid and I'm at a park in New York City, you know what I'm gonna do?
hmm,
Watch my kid.
yeah.
Because I
I mean,
understand
that was the thing
that
that
New
was the
York
weirdest
City.
because you had that second mom who was like, yeah, I take my kid to the park like
Yeah.
once a week, like after I
Hmm.
get out from work or whatnot. I was like, I never let him play with other kids. And then I let him play with kids this one time, and it
Yeah.
took my eyes away from him. And I was like,
You're lying.
I don't know.
You're
I feel like,
lying.
first of all, I don't know what mom doesn't let her kid play with other kids. I feel like that's also bad parenting.
I'm
Like
just saying like this,
you should let
man.
your kid
Like
socialize.
I don't know if it's
Also, those two little kids were definitely like a screen. Like I don't give a fuck what they said. They definitely like set that kid up to be kidnapped. So
man. I don't know if I'm like just a fate. I'm a fatalist by nature, but like it's the idea that like you don't think that like how many people, how many
Yeah.
serial killers existed in New York City in the history of New York City?
Well, that was the part about that episode that was the most compelling to me. Not the serial killer part, but it was like the part where it's like people kidnap kids because they can't have kids, and they
Yeah,
like
yeah,
raise
yeah.
other people's kids as their own. Because then they had that real life story of the woman
Mm-hmm.
who got the DNA or birth certificate was fake, so she like
Yeah.
to like find her real birth certificate and like got reunited with her parents. And I was like, oh damn, I didn't even think about like stuff like that of like, people kidnap other people's kids, like
There,
not to
there,
kill
there were
them, but to like literally just like raise other people's kids.
there was one thing I was watching with that. I don't know if it was last podcast or a documentary or something, but like,
Must have been the last
or
podcast
maybe
or
or maybe it
something
was
else because I don't
it
remember
it
last
was
podcast.
something true crime thing of like,
Hmm.
oh gosh, it was, what was it? Well, maybe it was Unsolved Mysteries. I don't know. Was there one like this last season?
Not like this. Mm-mm.
It was like the premise was like there was a kid who was not related to a family.
Hmm.
Oh, it was fucking no. It's the fucking Angelina Jolie movie.
Salt?
No, no, no. What the fuck? No, it's a true crime thing where she's like the mom and then her son goes missing and then like Changeling. It's called Changeling.
Oh. Okay.
I remember I was reading up on that story where it was like, um, her kid goes missing, and then she comes back and she's like, "It's not my kid," whatever. But then the kid grows up, and it ends up being not actually her kid.
Yeah.
Like, and as an adult, like it's not her kid. Like they DNA test the family, like the granddaughter of that kid who's quote unquote Angelina Jolie's kid. Like in
Hmm.
real life, goes and gets DNA tested, and they're like, "Yeah, you're not related by blood."
Damn.
So it's like, did the kid know that he wasn't their kid? Like, he was
She
old
had to
enough.
have
He was
known.
old enough to know, or like, what happened? Like, that's the
Yeah.
shit
And
that I
then
was.
what happened to her actual
Yeah, how
kid?
happened to
Yeah.
her actual kid?
Yeah.
Because I was like thinking, like, ooh, that was creepy.
Yeah.
That's
That's an
creepy.
interesting story.
That's creepy. Besides Unsolved, what else have you been taking?
Uh, I don't think I watched a whole lot else. I've been watching my VTubers.
Yeah.
Um, because I caught back up on because I've been playing a lot of Genshin Impact, and Fate has a new event going on, so I'm playing a lot of those games, and it's great to like play those games and have like the latest episode of Trash Taste or like a VTuber up in the background just to like have some background noise while I'm playing those. Um, so that's great.
Right.
So I've just been watching a few of those things.
Cool.
Um, but yeah, I don't think I've been playing much else besides that, which is like stupid to me because I'm like staring at 4 Blu-rays that I bought and I haven't fucking watched any of them because I saw that Walmart had Miyazaki's stuff on
Mm.
Blu-ray for sale. So I bought Mononoke, Spirited Away, and Totoro
Mm-hmm.
because I've never seen Totoro or Mononoke,
Wow.
and I haven't watched. Yeah, I know. I was like, I don't know why I haven't watched those yet, but like, I really do want to watch them because, especially Totoro, because that always just looks like such a fun movie.
Yeah.
But and I haven't seen Spirited Away since I was like watching it on Toonami and didn't
Mm-hmm.
understand what was actually going on besides the fact that like some weird shit was on the screen.
Yeah.
So I want to rewatch that again. And then I bought the original, or not the original Star Trek, but J.J. Abrams Star Trek
Okay.
because I do like that movie.
Oh yeah.
Um, and I haven't watched either of those. And I was like, I don't know why I bought these if I'm like not gonna watch them. So I don't know. I want to watch. I want to watch them soon. I'm just staring at them, and I don't know why I haven't put them in. But yeah,
I mean, I think Spirited Away sucks. I really don't like that movie.
well, that's the thing. I just can't remember if I actually, because I remember. I think I remember enjoying it, but I also remember it just being so damn long that I just can't remember. Because I really don't think I've watched it since I was like in middle school. Because I remember like watching it on Toonami. Because I remember Toonami had like a special airing of it or
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Well,
So I like
they
watched it
played it all the time.
all the time. It was like the one movie Miyazaki movie they had
Yeah.
rights to, so they played it
It
constantly.
was like turning
But
on.
I think it was like the first time they ever premiered it or whatnot. But I just can't remember anything from then because it's just
Yeah.
been so long. So I want to rewatch it and see if I actually just don't like it or if I like it and there's something different. I don't know.
That it's funny. I have a Totoro tattoo on my ankle.
Yes.
And if I walk to go get my haircut, or like I go to a store, or like, just not anime places, not places where you talk to anime people, and
Mm-hmm.
like sometimes they'll get noticed. Like
Mm-hmm.
I went to the barber shop one day, and the girl was like, "Oh my gosh, is that a Totoro tattoo?" And I was like, I want to be like, no,
No, it's not.
but I'm like, no, yeah, it is. And she goes, "Oh my god, I love that movie. I'm a huge Miyazaki fan." I was like, yeah, I'm not really. and like I always have to like, if I answer truthfully, that's the truthful answer. I'm not really a huge fan of the thing. Um, so the people are like, well, so why did you get the tattoo then? I'm like, because I have to get into this huge diatribe where I'm like, okay, I moved to Japan when I was a kid, and when I lived there when I was young, I had a class called culture class, which is where we had a Japanese person teach us like Japanese shit. It
Mm-hmm.
was mandatory for every single year you lived there. When you were in school, you had to take culture class.
Mm-hmm.
So you would learn the language, or try to learn the language, learn some of the different styles of writing, learn fucking basic phrases, how to use the abacus, all this kind of Japanesey shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when they were the equivalent of like, hey, we're gonna watch Bill Nye, was hey, we're gonna watch
Miyazaki.
Miyazaki movies, and that because it's Disney, right?
Right.
So the first movie I saw ever in Japan was Totoro. So it's not
Okay.
about like, oh, I like the movie. The movie's good, and
Mm-hmm.
it's more like to me the character represents a time in my life where I had to
Oh,
live in a different world where I thought there was ninjas, and sadly, there weren't any.
okay.
Right, so like
Right.
the movie's great. Don't get me wrong, the movie's a great movie. It's probably my second favorite Miyazaki movie. My first probably
Mm-hmm.
being, I mean, I really like Nazca, and I really like Mononoke, but I think Nazca's my favorite one. That's his first movie.
Mm-hmm. Nausicaa's
Um,
a great movie
yeah,
because I've watched Nausicaa, I've watched Castle. It's funny because I've watched a lot of his older movies, but I haven't watched, the big ones that everybody always goes to, like Totoro and Mononoke. And I haven't seen Spirited Away in forever. The one I've watched the most is probably like Howl's, because that was
yeah.
one. That was another one I feel like was always
I
on.
was always
But I also
replayed.
really
Yeah,
like Howl's. I think Howl's is a fun movie.
it's
So.
also based on a Western, not American, like a British book or something.
Hmm.
Like like a Western kid series. So
Yeah.
um, when I think of speaking of Spirited Away, though,
Hmm.
there's like I'm not sure. I always wondered this because it could be different for everybody because
Hmm.
of well, it has to be different for everybody because the way that they perceive TV is
Hmm.
like when you look back on your childhood, like
Hmm.
what movies were always being replayed on TV?
Hmm. I think the ones that I always remember, like TV, like on cable, or like as a family, like we would watch these
So
movies all
just
the
you would
time.
turn on TV to change channels to watch Nickelodeon, and you'd always end up seeing this movie on TV.
I remember a lot of Fast and Furious. I remember we watched a lot of Disney Channel, so I remember a lot of Disney Channel original movies. Halloween Town is a big one. Let's see what else. I remember Johnny Tsunami. I remember what was it? I don't know because I don't. I feel like I didn't sit down to watch a lot of like movies like when I was a kid. Like I don't remember sitting down to watch a lot of movies. If we were gonna like watch a movie, it would be like we'd take one of our DVDs
Well,
and put it
not
on.
even saying you're gonna watch it. I'm saying you're turning your TV on
Hmm.
and you're surfing. And
Hmm.
so, like for example, for me, The Patriot was always on TBS
I don't remember seeing the pay.
when I was a kid.
I don't watch. I didn't watch
I
TBS a
remember just
lot. Maybe
turning
that
on the
was why.
TV and I'm just changing the channel. I'm just going through, seeing what's
Yeah.
on. There's The Patriot. You
Hmm.
know, there's Blade 2 for some reason. There's
I remember
Anaconda for some
I
reason on
watched a
Sci-Fi
lot of
Channel.
TNT and FX, and I remember X-Men being on all the time.
I remember X-Men 2.
Yeah, X-Men 2 were on like constantly.
So there's movies that I just always I don't know if it was like the external magical forces just happening the when I turn a TV on, this happens to just be on, or if everyone's experiencing this, and to me it was like the
Hmm.
Patriot. There was always the Patriot. It was always at the beginning of the movie. It was never
Hmm.
the end part. There's
Hmm.
never the part where the war is actually happening and it's when like Heath Ledger comes back, he's
Mm-hmm.
bleeding. Mel
Yeah.
Gibson's like, get in the house, get in the house. That's
Mm.
always the part that I would stop at,
Hmm.
or I would see before I would change the channel.
Interesting.
Um, did you have anything else going on?
No, that was it. That's the basic rundown. Not too much crazy stuff going on this week.
Is this true?
Sounds good.
Yes, it's true.
I only got
This
a
man
couple
has no
things.
dick.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing too crazy. First thing I'm doing is watching The Right Stuff still on
Fuck, I forgot about that. I need to watch that.
on Disney Plus. And I talked about it last week on the podcast that we didn't post because of audio issues. But The
Mm-hmm.
Right Stuff's episode 4 is what's happened. The episode came out this week, and
Mm-hmm.
it's great. It's a really great show so far.
Oh, is it episodic? Like
Yeah,
it's not out all at once.
it's a weekly. Yeah,
Okay.
it's Disney Plus doing Disney Plus stuff.
Yeah.
It's really great cast. They really show you that, like, because I've never read the book and I never
Mm-hmm.
watched the original movie, but they really show you that the first astronauts were not like they're American heroes, but they weren't American heroes.
Hmm.
Like, there's some adultery going on.
Ah, okay.
There's some lying going on. There's some alcoholism going on. Like,
They're heroes,
they're
but they're not
pilots.
necessarily like good people.
Like, there's one guy, Mike Ross, um,
Mm-hmm.
who's the second man in space, because they're playing real
Mm-hmm.
people. The second man in space, I believe, is John Glenn, which is Mike Ross from Suits. He's like a good,
Mm-hmm.
from where I'm at so far. I don't know. I know Mercury and Apollo very well, not their
Mm-hmm.
lives. I know the missions.
Yeah.
So outside of the missions, I didn't give a shit. This show focuses on them as a whole, like
Right.
NASA starting, NASA forming, and the people's lives. So that to me is all new to me. Is like their actual backstories. Um, but Mike Ross, John Glenn is like a Marine
Mm-hmm.
pilot, and he's like a Christian man. Like, he's like
Mm-hmm.
very devout to his wife. His wife has a stuttering, like, speaking impediment. They have children. He's like a poster boy. He's like a World War II hero. Like, he's
Mm-hmm.
like this like all American like guy. He actually is that kind of character. So he hangs out by himself all day because the rest of the pilots are like fucking like loud ass,
Mm-hmm.
like hanging like they were supposed to. The first episode 2, I believe, they get to their barracks
Mm-hmm.
in Florida where they're supposed to live, like on the military base. And it's like a fucking like bunk bed up like Vietnam era, or before Vietnam, like Korea era,
Right.
shitty barracks. And then the star pilot of the Navy, who's like the first guy in space,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like notorious like adulterer,
Mm-hmm.
like liar. He's always like courting women and having sex with them, whatever. And his wife's at home with their kids.
Yeah.
He's like, fuck this, and he moves everyone to a hotel, like with a pool, and there's a bar, like a tiki bar, and all this kind of stuff. So it shows you that they're not all great guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really, probably like only one of them's a decent guy. The rest of them are kind of
Mm-hmm.
like trash human beings outside of being great pilots. But then again, like, what do you expect? They're pilots. Like,
Yeah.
it's the idea of like a thrill seeker.
Mm-hmm.
But the episodes are really well done. They're really good. They're giving you enough of the info dumps without
Mm-hmm.
being like too much. I like info dumps on like realistic shows,
Mm-hmm.
but since it's a drama, they're giving you bits at a time to make sure that people are still like aren't overly bored with like the you know astrophysics of or whatever, or the rocket
Right.
science. They're just giving you bits and pieces of it to make sure you're still interested.
Mm-hmm.
But the cast is really well casted. It's really good. It's probably it's not my favorite space thing
Mm-hmm.
because HBO has a better space show, but this is really good so far.
Okay.
Maybe when it's over, I'll you know move up. But it's
Mm-hmm.
for NASA drama. It's really good so far.
Okay.
So I'm watching The Right Stuff. And then I'm watching a docu-series on Showtime called The Comedy Store, which
Right.
I talked about the trailers a few weeks ago. And this is also on episode 4
Okay.
today. And it's a docu-series about the Comedy Store, and they're interviewing a bunch of different comedians who started out there. I think I talked about it a few weeks ago, the first episode or
Hmm.
so. But it's really good. It's still really good. Um, episode 3 last week had a lot of great comedians on it. Bill Burr's been on it.
Okay.
Um, Pauly Shore was in it last week. So it's really good, and I'm really enjoying it. If you're a comedy nerd or a geek or, you know, just interested in like comedy stuff, it's like a
Hmm.
must watch because it just has all these. One, the place is such a legendary comedy club, but also
Hmm.
just it has so many powerhouse comedians that have gone through there. Like you kind of have to check it out if you care about comedy at all,
Right.
or at least like in the extra layer of just like not just watching specials, but if you actually like the craft and the business or whatever. Not that I'm a comedian, but like it's
Yeah.
interesting enough for me to go, okay, cool. I want to know the history of this pop culture icon thing. So,
Hmm.
Comedy Store. Last thing, I started going back to my comic shop
Mm.
last week. So I started pulling my books again. Um, so Batman and Superman, all DC books I've been reading, Marvel books I've been reading. I want to mention a couple of the highlights that I read last week.
Hmm.
There's a book called The Devil's Red Bride, which is a really
Okay.
great samurai book.
Ooh.
It's like a B movie samurai comic. Issue 1 came out. Really great art. It's like a
Hmm.
I want to say Kurosawa because it's samurai, but it's like really good. It's like Mulan kind of. It reminds me of
Okay.
Mulan. It's really bloody. It's great. And then the first issue of Commanders in Crisis came out, which is pretty much a DC. It's like a DC. It's an image book, but it's like a DC event. And the premise is
Oh.
like
Hmm.
um, there's one world left, and there's these former presidents of each other Earth, and
Okay.
all their Earths have died, and they've all been teleported to this one Earth to try to save it. So now you have like a superhero Justice League team of former like superhero presidents from different planets or different Earths, versions of
Interesting.
Earths, and it's like a multiverse story.
Okay.
It's issue 1. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet, but I enjoyed it enough to keep reading next month.
Okay.
So there's that. American Vampire 1976 issue 1 came out. I enjoyed that. Um,
I remember reading the original. I think it was the original American Vampire. That was a fun series.
I never finished it, but this one was really good.
Hmm.
Um, lastly, I wanted to mention this for next
Yeah.
month is that Power Rangers is ending.
Hmm.
The comic book is ending this month, I believe, or it's ended already. I think it's already
The
over.
Boom Studios one.
Yeah, the Boom series is over now,
Okay.
issue 55, because
Interesting.
next month they're splitting the book into 2 new books.
Huh.
So next
Okay.
month, two new number ones, two
Is
new
this
number ones.
still Mighty Morphin?
You have one book called Mighty Morphin and one book called Power Rangers. So Mighty Morphin, from what I
Okay.
understand, is just a regular Power Ranger book, like what's
Right.
already happening. In the book called Power Rangers is going to be like the Omega Rangers, like the
Okay.
first Power Rangers or whatever. I haven't caught
Okay.
up with the comic book, so I don't know.
I haven't caught up in the comic book since I think I left off on issue 20. And there was some weird shit going on with like a research facility or something like that,
Right.
talking about the morphin grid,
So
and I was
this
like,
to me is
this is like way over my head.
like my new jumping on point because I'm
Okay.
not going to go back and read the other 40 issues that I didn't read.
How many was there? How much? What are they leaving
55.
off of? Oh, that's not too bad. I could probably skip through 55 in like a week.
Oh, I could too. I just don't care enough.
Right.
Um,
I mean,
and
that first arc that they have is great. I love the Draken stuff, but yeah, it was like the arc after that. I was just like, yeah, this is kind of
well,
boring.
there's that, and then I guess Go Go, which is the other book. I guess that's ending too. I don't know for sure.
Hmm.
Um, but good jumping on point for anyone who hasn't read Power Rangers before or has dropped off like me. So I'm
Mm.
gonna pick those up, and then also the new TMNT book comes out next week. It's called The Last Ronin. It looks really
Is it
cool.
is this different from the IW series that has been going on so
We
far?
we
IDW?
it's I don't know yet. It's like a
Interesting.
future story kind of thing. There's one turtle left and no one knows who it is yet. Um,
I
and
mean,
it's
it's
like
gotta be
it's like
Leonardo.
a future story. People think it's Mikey. People
It's
think
the
it would
last
be
Ronin.
people think it would be good because it's like, okay, well, why would he if he had to become serious, then it would be like a big deal. Like something's happened, and they're saying like something happened in the family. Like there's like deaths or people have died, so it's a more serious TMNT
Hmm.
tone. And since issue 100 of IDW TMNT, I haven't read it. I haven't cared.
I don't even think I got to issue 100. I think I was at 78 or something like that. It was still like Master Splinter was still like the head of the Foot Clan, and there was something going on. I can't even
Well,
remember.
post 100, there's a lot more mutants.
Okay. There was
And
already a lot of mutants.
I personally don't care about that.
It was like I left off where it was like they were doing the shit where it was like there's a lot more mutants and they were going against like I don't even remember what they called them, but they were like animal spirit gods or something like
Uh
that.
huh.
Like there was like a mammoth one. They had like the Rat King, and there was you had the main bad chick who was like a fox or something like that, who like
Yeah.
took over somebody's personality or something. I can't even remember.
All I know is that I get them every month still.
Yeah,
I just haven't read the last 8 months of them. I just haven't cared. But Last Ronin I'll probably buy because I care. It looks
that's
cool,
interesting. I'm interested to see if I mean it could be
and
Mikey.
it also has Peter Laird's working on it too, which is like
Hmm.
the fact that they're even working together again is crazy. So
Yeah,
that's a big deal. Other than that, that's all I've been doing. It's been a really slow week for me.
yeah. I feel you, man.
I bought a skateboard.
Did you do any sick tricks?
No, I haven't got it yet.
Oh,
It
okay.
comes in
Gotcha.
Tuesday, and then I'm gonna start.
Ah,
I'm gonna start trying to learn how to ride a skateboard.
okay.
So we'll see in 6 months if I can do an ollie. Because I remember
I'll just play Tony Hawk.
I tried learning how to skateboard when I was like 12, and like the first thing I did was try to learn how to ollie.
Hmm.
And I was thinking back like as an adult, I'm like maybe that was probably the bad. Maybe I should
I
learn
don't
how
know.
to.
For me, it's like the concept of ollie makes no sense. Like I don't know because I feel like a skateboard isn't bouncy, so I don't know how you're supposed to like make it give lip. I don't know. It's very
Well,
confusing to me.
my thing is like I should have learned how to just ride it first.
Hmm.
Like I fundamentally I built the building blocks is like learn how to ride it, and I was like
Right.
no, I want to do a kickflip. It's like well maybe you should start there. Maybe you should
Yeah.
start with like it's like oh I want to play guitar. Okay, master of puppets. Like no, you should start playing like Mary Had a
Through the
Little
fire and
Lamb,
flames.
right?
Yeah.
Something like that. So we'll see how that goes.
Interesting.
We'll see how that goes. That's what I've been checking now. We can move into
Okay.
some of the news that we have. To
Yes.
talk about nothing too crazy.
We got
Nothing too crazy.
one!
Except for this, Jason.
Yep,
Ghostbusters.
yep.
Goddamn Ghostbusters, man. Pushed back to summer of 2021. I think it's June. Or is it
I
July?
believe it's June. I could be wrong.
Freaking Christ, man. Like, just everything. Just, can we just, like, get in a time machine and skip ahead to, like, where everything's back to normal?
You know what's sad, man? Is that I'm at the point right now where I'm like, I don't even want to see it anymore. I don't even
It's
want
not
to.
the
I
movie's
don't even want to
fault.
see it. It is their fault. I don't even want to see it anymore. I don't think they're done. I think they're
I don't
gonna.
know if that's
I
true.
think they're blaming it on coronavirus. I don't think they're finished.
Mm,
I don't think they're done.
hmm.
Because if they were done, you tell me that you wouldn't want to release it on VOD and make money right now.
But really, when I
30
really think about it, there
make
hasn't
it.
been a movie that's really like released on VOD and made money since like
But
Trolls,
none of them
which
have
was
also
like,
been. None of them have also been Ghostbusters.
well, that's
You
true,
tell me
I
VOD
guess.
$30 for a movie, $30 a pop, VOD right now. You tell me like I can name like fucking an entire Facebook group that I'm in that would do it the moment it comes on.
I mean, I would do it too. Well, I guess we did that with Bill and Ted.
Bill and
I don't.
Ted, but Bill and Ted's not Ghostbusters.
Bill and Ted also didn't make that much money.
But it's also not and didn't cost that much money,
Well, that's true.
and it's not Ghostbusters. You know, so like the idea that like I
Mm.
understand, you know, postponing until another year, but at the same time, like, do you think that do
At
you
this point, yeah, it's been
do
delayed
you
an
think
entire
that
year.
like we're going to the theaters are going to be that slammed in June if there's even
Well, the
theaters
way things are
open?
going, there's not gonna be any theaters left in June.
Like, what are you waiting for? Do you get a portion of like candy sales? I don't think that's how that works.
I don't think that's how that works.
Like if a ticket costs me $10
Right.
and I'm going, so I spend $20 on tickets for two people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's still less than $30.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that you want to buy it per household, $30 a household. But at the same time,
Yeah.
like, you think that I'm gonna get together like 12 people to watch Ghostbusters? No, fuck it.
Some people do that.
I'm watching it by my fucking self.
That's true.
I get Batman delaying because it's like actually no, I don't get Batman delaying
I was going to say, why is it what the double
because
standard
well
for
first off
Batman?
because Batman started shooting way later. By the
That's
time
true.
Batman started filming, Ghostbusters was should have been done.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters had a full year before Batman started shooting, right?
Well, it's like freaking Dune got delayed. Why is Dune getting delayed? Dune's done. They got a trailer out, so clearly they're
Now
like
here's
they're on the
why
finishing touches.
I understand why Dune's delaying
Tell me why.
because Dune
Tell
is
me why.
is not a movie that can rely solely on VOD.
But it
The
wasn't going to.
the
Like it was going to
the
theaters.
that's my point is that it cannot rely on VOD because of the
Ah,
style of movie. Imagine if like they put fucking the Natalie Portman Oscar Isaac movie on VOD only.
Most Violent Year?
No,
No.
that's Jessica Chastain. Now the science fiction movie.
Oh, Annihilation.
Imagine the yeah, you know what? Now it's just coming out VOD $30. No one
Yeah.
is paying for that movie. Not saying that Dune is in the same level of bullshit because it's
Yeah.
not. But Dune's not Ghostbusters.
That's true.
Like if Batman was on VOD, you know it's making him money. It's
Yeah.
Batman, right? It's making money. If they put Fantastic Four tomorrow, hey, by the way, it's done. We got it. John Krasinski, Emily Blunt, they're playing fucking, you know,
Reed Richards
they're
and the
playing the
Invisible
cast.
Woman.
It's gonna make money.
They're playing the entire cast.
It's gonna make money. You know what I mean? But like Ghostbusters, after this many delays, I'm gonna see it. Obviously,
It hasn't been that many delays, right? It's only been two.
that's
It's
too
just
many.
that they've been long
That's too
because
many.
it was July to March, and now it's March to June. So,
Yeah, that's too many.
hmm.
I understand. I absolutely understand the business of it, but I'm not in business for movies. I'm in business of consuming.
That's true. But I think you're still gonna watch it.
Oh,
So,
I know I'm still gonna watch it, but I'm gonna give it a harder review in my life
that's fair.
because I had to wait an extra year and a half for a movie that should be done.
Yeah. I mean, we should have already
And
watched
also,
it at this point.
I haven't got a trailer yet. Another trailer?
I think
Fuck
that's the
you,
thing that's the most concerning to me is that we haven't
because it's
gotten
not fucking done.
another trailer for it. Well,
We're gonna get Matrix fucking 4 before we get Ghostbusters.
I mean that's the craziest part.
You know.
Uh, we got Matrix 4. We got
Also, I read that
what is even
Batman.
coming out next year?
I read that Batman is using the Mandalorian shit,
What do you mean?
like those screens or whatever. I think I read an article saying that they're using that shit.
Screens.
The Mandalorian screens. You know what I'm
I
talking
don't know.
about?
I have no idea what
You
you're
know they
talking about.
shot the Mandalorian?
You mean like the old timey like moving screens?
Bro, you don't know anything about Mandalorian, how they shot that fucking show?
Hold on.
That show was shot on like 90% screens. Like very small physical sets.
Oh, like virtual sets?
Like they have like these giant like 360 screens that are like LCD screens
Mm-hmm.
that project imagery on them. And
Hmm.
then he'll walk on like a fucking treadmill, and now that's like how they cast the motion. Like they film it in this like box thing,
Right.
and it's like so that half the time they're not even really on a screen.
Right.
I don't know if that's what they're doing. I saw an article from CBR saying like the Batman's going to adopt virtual production techniques like the Mandalorian.
Hmm. I
Yeah,
don't know how
this
you'd
yeah,
even. I don't
he
even
did
know.
pre-built sets of LED walls being fitted to shoot some parts of the movie. Now,
Eh.
the Mandalorian looks cool. I really don't like this LED screen shit. I understand it's the future, but at the same time, like it's really great for like scenery.
Yeah.
Like the Mandalorian scene where he's like walking through like the fucking like water boat,
Mm-hmm.
like not season two, but season one, where he's like
Yeah.
walking through to go to his ship or whatever, and
Yeah.
it's like the big landscape, or like the
Mm-hmm.
desert scenes. Those look great because you can make them see in CG and 3D and make them
Mm-hmm.
look really great, and then put them on the screen and project them. But
Yeah.
like, and then obviously the close knit stuff you do real sets,
Yeah.
um, and that's the future. But also I don't like it because there's no reason why. I'm just a film fan and I like real shit.
I don't know, but I mean, it sounds like a. I mean, it sounds like a technique that's been done before. It's just updated, where it's, you've got the treadmill and you've got the revolving screen behind them to stimulate motion. It sounds similar to that, which is like a technique that's been around. I mean, it's an old film technique that they used to use in like the 40s and 50s and stuff. So I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's not a matte painting,
Yeah, but
but even
I
most
mean,
matte
CGI
paintings,
backgrounds is the new matte painting.
right? And it sucks.
Sometimes.
I'd say 90% of the time I don't like it.
I don't know. I mean, it's like, I mean,
Like
after watching season one of The Mandalorian, I didn't even really notice that
look
being
at
a
like
thing.
fucking like Avengers Endgame fight sequence. You're like
Well, that's all just a giant green
you're like
screen.
oh man, this looks rough.
Yeah,
We're all floating in this giant green space.
yeah,
It's episode one, two, three, no sequence. But that's why Ghostbusters looks so cool because they're in a town. Like even if
yeah,
it's a fake town, it looks fucking cool because they're in a real town. You know,
yeah.
that cars interacting with shit. And now I'm having to wait a year for fucking Batman. And to me, Batman would look really great in a cool city. Just shoot Batman in Chicago. You don't have to
Mm,
simulate crime. You could just have it. You know. Um, I
mm.
don't care about Ghostbusters, man. I'm gonna see it obviously, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, this is like it ain't Cyberpunk, man. Like it's too many delays. It's Ghost, but I've already
Look,
waited so
Jason,
long.
I'm going to tell you something that the audience already knows, which is that you were doing the same thing before Cyberpunk, and now Cyberpunk's gold, and you're all there, and you're ready to go.
But
So,
there's a difference between the two of these things, though. Is that Cyberpunk is a livable experience that I get to play for hours and hours and
true.
hours.
And Ghostbusters is
What's
a
that?
movie that you get to experience over and well, if you like it, you get to
And
experience over and
Ghostbusters
over
is a
again.
movie that I've waited 30 years for, and I get the one kid who's been in every 80s removie thing since for fucking 4 years.
Look, they got a time machine and they just plucked him straight out of the 1980s, okay?
So by the time this movie comes out, the main character girl, whatever the fuck that character girl
Mm-hmm.
is gonna look like a fucking like 17-year-old.
Right.
Like the main like whatever gender that person's supposed to be, that character,
Mm-hmm.
the Finn Wolfhard's little sibling.
Right.
By the time this movie comes out, it's gonna be like season 3 of Stranger Things for her. Like she's gonna be fucking like taller, and so
Yeah.
you can't even do a Ghostbusters fucking 4 because it's gonna be like oh it's been a couple years since the last movie.
You can still do Ghostbusters 4. I mean, you just,
Yeah, you have to preface it's been a couple years since the last movie. You know, if
Right.
you're
I
trying
mean,
to
you
bang
can
them
write
out,
around
you can't
that.
really do that.
You can write around that. I mean, Ghostbusters 2, time-wise, takes place a couple of years after the first movie. Like, you can write it
Yeah, but
around
they're
it.
already adults, so it's like okay, I don't see a massive change in Dan Aykroyd's face.
Mm.
If you're gonna cast kids, you either have to understand you're gonna be creating a time warp for them, or
I mean, I feel like
try to
they
film them
assumed
you
that
try
they
to
were
film
going
them
to be.
quickly.
I mean, I haven't even seen anything that they're trying to do anything after this Afterlife movie, but I mean, I would assume that the fact that they cast kids, they have that in mind that they're gonna
Oh,
have to
exactly.
ride around it.
Exactly. They're that's the plan. You don't cast kids just make one movie unless they're Super Seven. But it's the idea that like, listen, a year and a half is a long time to wait for a movie, especially after 30 years. Now, this movie better be fucking good. That's the whole point. This movie better be fucking good. And the problem is that it's not gonna be. It's gonna be okay.
It's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be. I hope so. Until like there's like a random ass political message in the middle of the movie, like ghosts are conservatives. Being a ghost is capitalist. You shouldn't do it.
Don't you know ghosts are caused by global warming?
Ghosts are caused by global warming. That's exactly why the town started shaking because of global warming. Because the oil drilling is causing the ghosts to.
Yeah.
David Fincher,
Ah.
Mindhunter,
Mm,
over
apparently.
apparently. Which we knew
According to him.
that a few months ago. He already said this.
I feel like he'd already said
He
this
released
before.
them from their contracts, but now it's like officially like in interview. He's like, yeah, it's kind of
Which
over.
I have not finished the second season. Well, that's not true. I haven't started the second season. But
Not
does
missing
it
much.
leave off in a spot where it's like, oh yeah,
Oh
there's definitely
no.
gonna be a third season? It
Oh
doesn't.
yes, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I was saying there's absolutely no resolution.
Yeah.
Like there's absolutely zero resolution.
Mm.
And to me, more fatalist on my point of view, for my favorite director,
Right.
for years I've been saying this on the podcast, my favorite director,
Yeah.
excluding two movies, my favorite director excluding two movies. Um, my favorite director excluding his number one movie that everyone loves. Cannot stand Fight Club.
Oh yeah.
Hate it. Hate it. But my point is this. Between the fucking like Lewis and Clark show that stopped production a few years back with Casey Affleck, it's like nothing
Hmm.
this dude does fucking finishes.
Yeah.
Okay, he has a new movie coming out. I don't care.
Can't remember what it is.
It's called Mank with Gary Oldman.
Oh right, that's his movie. Yeah, yeah.
I don't care. He had that thing you watched a few years ago or a year ago, the short film,
Oh
short
yeah, the
story.
Love, Death, and Robots. I mean, that's
Don't
fine.
care. Don't care. I wanted you to make David Fincher shit,
Yeah.
which is this. And then you decide to tease me for 2 seasons with shit and then
Hmm.
to just give up.
Yeah.
I get. He said it costs a lot of money, which I completely believe, even though I don't see the why. Because if you watch the show, you're like,
I don't.
where does the money go? Because
I don't
clearly
understand. Yeah, I don't understand
there's
where the
not
money's
there's
at.
not that much special effects going on. Your
I
sets aren't
guess
that ornate.
actor wise, maybe, but like
Even
really,
then,
there's only
what?
like one actor that has like any name recognition.
It's one, and even when the show was filming it, he wasn't like.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was King George.
Yeah.
So like there was no like level there of like recognition. He was a guy from Glee apparently.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like the reason David Fincher gives is like he was like it cost too much money. He had to like live in this world in Pennsylvania for how I don't care. Like
Yeah.
I
I don't
want
know.
you told the story and you didn't complete it in any sense.
Yeah.
And for David Fincher, to me, that's mind blowing because the guy like tells stories. That's like his whole job is like to tell excel like stories better than most people. Like
Right.
he's like top 3 percentile of like directors who can make hard hitting crime and tell effective stories. And then
Do you think the problem is that he just shouldn't be allowed to do series and he should just stick to
I
movies?
absolutely at
Yeah.
100% because he
Because
clearly
I
can't
think the
handle
problem
it.
with that I'm seeing is that like, especially from like what you've said about like his excuses, is that he just wasn't prepared for how long it takes to make a TV series.
I don't even know if that's so. Like here's the quote from this is from the Collider article.
Hmm.
Quote, listen, for the viewership that it had, it was an expensive show. We talked about, quote, finish Mank and then see how you feel, end quote. But I honestly don't think we're going to be able to do it for less than I did season two. And on some level, you have to be realistic with the dollars have to equal eyeballs, end quote. Now,
Hmm.
to me, I don't see, again, I don't know everything about financing of a show or a product or a production, obviously. Um, I just don't know where the money went because nothing in the show was
I just
like
really don't know.
nothing in the show was insanely visually impressive.
Yeah.
Like rooms, cells, a couple hospital scenes, a
Yeah, I don't know
house.
where he's like saying that all this money is going towards. I don't really understand.
And,
Unless it was like, they went to an actual prison and they like had to rent out space for that, but like
but
I
that's
can't imagine it's like
they
millions
do
of
that in
dollars to
fucking
rent
Law and
out.
Order.
Yeah, I can't imagine it's like millions of dollars to rent out like a cell.
Unless it's like the equipment where like they're shooting on a special camera, which I know David Fincher is super, but also at the same time it's like, well, David Fincher is known for shooting a lot because he makes his people take takes 30, 40, 50 times. So maybe it's like fucking maybe do the Clint Eastwood style, which is to action, cut, we're good to go. That's Clint Eastwood style.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what the money holdup is. But I mean, like, if you watch season two, which is like I don't recommend you doing because there's literally no point now.
Yeah.
You'll watch it, and as a true crime fan, you're gonna see more BTK stuff, and you're gonna go, okay, cool, and you're never gonna get resolution to it.
Mm.
Like, obviously, we understand what happens with BTK, and that's
Right.
why I was so mad about season two when I talked about it on the podcast 14 months ago.
Right.
Is because they're setting up BTK 30 years before he gets arrested.
Right.
Like, so are you going to give me 5 seasons of different generations of profilers working on catching BTK or not? And
Right.
clearly, we're
They did
not.
not.
We're not,
Yeah.
And
Clearly that's not going to happen.
it's a bummer because Mindhunter was such a well atmosphere. It's such even though the pacing I thought was trash because I knew that they were not going to give me exactly what I needed for the show to wrap up. Because even if the show ends at season three with with those characters being done, well,
Hmm.
you still leave BTK open.
Yeah.
And if the whole idea was like, okay, we're gonna show you how these people are progressing and they're profiling, but they're still a step behind a killer, like to me, that's not good storytelling. That's kind of like,
Yeah, I really don't understood what the part of BTK is because like they don't catch BTK. Like it's not the FBI that tracks down
yeah,
BTK.
right.
So I really don't even understand the point of them like teasing to him
You
being in
picked
the
the wrong
show because
killer.
like
You picked the
yeah,
wrong
I
serial
mean
killer.
there's got to be serial killers that they could tease to like the FBI
Just
actually
make one
captured,
up.
but it's like yeah, or you could just make one up, I guess. Well, I
Like,
mean, I don't know. They really didn't make up anything else in the show, so that wouldn't make sense. But
well, the main character is made up.
is he?
Yeah, the whole cast is made up.
I thought it was based on like the
Yeah,
original
they're
people that
they're based
started the
on they're based on real people, but they aren't the exact persons. Like they're like,
right.
I think like even the main character is an amalgamation of different people.
Hmm.
The
Okay.
classic, what they do a lot of those historical fiction shows, but like BTK, like you're gonna give me BTK and like not even there's no way
Yeah.
you're gonna make that conclusion satisfying.
Yeah.
And if that was the goal was to not make it satisfying, well then you win because
Well, I would assume based on the structure of the show that maybe it would get to the point where it's like, I don't know, they capture him and or the hot dog squad captures him
mhm,
and then they interview him. I would assume would be the only conclusion that could really
yeah,
come out of that. But that's not super satisfying. Like I don't care
right.
about 5 seasons of build up for them to interview BTK.
But also to have to end the episode or start them with a little bit of like the little bits of BTK. I'm like, I don't like this is like give me like
Yeah.
actual and they actually have one of the characters, the other guy, goes and investigates a BTK like scene.
Hmm.
So I'm like, you're starting it
Yeah.
and you just didn't commit. You made Holden and his character go to Atlanta to look
Hmm.
into the fucking black young kids who are being kidnapped,
Right.
the missing children in Atlanta, the young black kids. Okay, so what direction are we going?
Yeah.
Because I think there's a quote in the interview too where Dave Fincher is like, I just didn't like what I was making. I'm like, yeah, because I didn't like what you were making. Like, because you had no direction. Like there was no direction.
Yeah.
There's a reason why Seven is so good because you had one killer and you were
Yeah,
focusing on
he had an
making his
interesting
killer.
concept with that show. He had an interesting concept with this show, but he really didn't know where to take it
Yeah.
after like the first like 5 or 6 episodes.
it is
Yeah.
it was rough. It's rough. So now like
Yeah.
and I quasi like I mean my enjoyment level throughout the entire thing was like here in the middle, and it could have been like a fantastic ending or next season if you full on BTK hunted. And even if I know they lose for 30
Yeah.
years, that's fine. But make the season like fucking enjoyable. And
Yeah.
now it's just like nothing.
Yeah.
Which I get. I mean, it's Netflix and the money, and I understand.
I actually don't get that because Netflix throws money at everybody and literally is just like
They
make this
throw
thing.
they throw money at fucking cuties or whatever the fuck that shit was called.
Yeah, so they throw money at everything. So I don't understand what he's talking about when he's talking about money problems because Netflix literally doesn't care about money. They throw money
Well,
at everybody.
we'll get.
I think the problem with that is that the real problem with that is that Netflix has the habit of canceling stuff after 3 seasons.
Yeah,
So
you telling me
I
though
would
that
I would say the real problem was that like he would have done like I think the real problem is that he would have been like, okay, I need to make this like 5 seasons, and Netflix is like, nah, you get like 1 season.
well,
He's like, I can't do this in one more season. They're
here's the
like, all
thing.
right,
I saw Netflix give whatever they gave to House of Cards and Orange
yeah,
is the New Black.
yeah.
I didn't watch the Orange is the New Black, but I watched parts of House of Cards,
Those are the shows
which
that
was
have like more than 3 seasons, but those are also like, I mean, for especially when they were coming out, I mean, those were like the powerhouse shows
but
on
my
Netflix.
point is this though. You're gonna afford Kevin Spacey,
Yeah,
and you're going to afford Jenny.
yeah,
Yet David Fincher, with his no-name cast,
yeah.
where the person that's making the most money from Mindhunter
Hmm.
is David Fincher.
Yeah,
That's the person you're paying. Whereas with House of Cards, you're paying
yeah.
Kevin Spacey, right?
Hmm.
So where is the money going? Because I've seen Netflix give Vanessa Hudgens like 5 Christmas shit movies
Yeah.
and fucking Adam Sandler like 12 shit
Dude,
movies.
Adam Sandler is raking in the money, dude.
So
You
you
know,
telling me
Hubie
that
costs
what?
like $1 million, and he probably came in with like $8 million
I
paycheck.
guarantee Hubie Halloween cost $0. He
Yeah.
paid for it himself in his own town,
Oh,
and then he just took
that's definitely his neighborhood that Hubie
the
overshadows.
Netflix money and just put it in his pocket. Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
How'd you feel about Tom Holland?
He's fine. I mean, he looks like Drake, but it's just like, I mean, I have the same feeling about this that you have about Ghostbusters in a different way, which is just like, this movie has been talked about getting made for like 10 plus years at this point. Since like Uncharted 2, they were like, oh yeah, we're going to make a Nathan Drake movie. The movie's actually getting made. Tom Holland's in it. He met Nolan North, which is cute. It's super cute that he met Nolan North. I
Super,
love it.
super
I
cute.
think it's super cute that he met Nolan North. It has nothing to do with this fucking movie because there's no way that Nolan North has anything to do with this movie. Like, this is the way I
Son
played
of
Nathan
a
Drake as a
bitch.
voice actor. I don't give a fuck. Like, you're
Yeah.
not the actor. Get off the set. Um, I just don't care about this movie. I don't give a damn. And also, the only thing that I do care about is Mark Wahlberg is playing Sully. They didn't show Mark Wahlberg in these pictures. Where's Marky Mark?
It's
That's what
also
I
what
want
a
to know.
terrible casting choice.
Marky Mark is
Yeah.
Sully? Yeah. Well, he's not old enough.
When
Sully's
I
supposed to be like Bruce Campbell. They should have just done Bruce
Yes,
Campbell. That's
absolutely.
basically Bruce Campbell from Burn Notice in in Uncharted. That's what
And
they've done.
one of the Facebook groups I'm in, like pop culture groups, they
Hmm.
posted the picture of Tom Holland in costume,
Yeah.
and the top comment was so tiny.
Yeah. He's so well. He's like a 19-year-old. Like he's super small.
He
I don't
is
know. They dressed
insanely
him up as
small.
like a he dressed him up as they dressed him up as like adult Nathan Drake, and I was like, he's supposed to be like 19 years old. Like, why is he wearing like the actual like adult Indiana Jones outfit?
The second comment was so much khaki.
Yeah, a lot
But
of
first off,
well, Nathan Drake has always worn a lot of
he
khaki.
is so small.
Yeah,
So he is not going to be killing anybody.
I mean, he's
And
gonna be shooting a lot of people from far away. He's
we
not gonna
know
be punching
Nathan
people.
Drake is like a brawler,
Yeah,
and he kills a lot of people.
he kills.
But
A,
in this movie, he's so tiny. He's not. I can't believe you because you're not Spider Man. I can't believe that. Like,
Yeah,
Like he's like 5'8" or some shit. Like what the fuck, dude?
yeah.
Like I don't know, man. I feel like this movie's gonna blow.
I mean, yeah, that's what I think. I also just don't care about it.
Do you think?
But I also
Do
think
you
it's gonna
think
blow.
it's gonna? What's the percentage of Indiana Jones ripoff to like Marvel
99%.
movie?
That it's just an Indiana Jones copy with like a worse
Yeah.
plot.
So who's gonna be? Who's gonna be? What's her name? His first girlfriend, his wife in the last game.
Well, she's not even going to show up because this takes place before the first game, so she's not
But
going to
hey,
show up.
who they're gonna give him
He
a girl?
doesn't he doesn't meet her until the first game.
Do you think they also cast Tom Holland as fucking Nathan Drake and he's like wearing that costume instead of the
Yeah.
fucking t-shirt and jeans he wears? So clearly they don't give a fuck. So like
Well, I guess
they're
so.
gonna give him a love interest because it's Tom Holland. So who is
I
it gonna
can't remember.
be?
I can't remember what.
Is
Well,
it
I
gonna be
bet you
Chloe
it's
or
going to
the other
be.
girl?
I bet you it's going to be Chloe. I can't remember. I can't remember the other chick's name. Her name is like. Oh, Chloe's in the movie. Yeah. So yeah, it's
So
definitely
it's
going to be
Chloe, and
Chloe.
Chloe's the black-haired one, right?
Yeah, Chloe's the ethnic one.
The second movie, the second game.
Yeah, second
So
game.
who's playing her?
Who's like the hottest one? I love Chloe to death. I think she's great. Um, shit, I can't remember her
Is she
goddamn.
what does she do? She just a thief or something or?
Chloe is also. She's basically a female Nathan Drake,
Okay.
but she's like. I mean, she's basically Fujiko from Lupin, where it's like she's following him around all the time, and then he steals something, and then she's like, "Oh, this is actually mine," and steals it away from him.
Because the second game has my favorite sequence in the games, which is like the city sequence.
City sequence is great. I love the train sequence too. Is also
Sounds good.
super fun.
What's the
I
probability
mean, the
of
second game is like one of the best games in the
what's
whole
the
series.
probability of this movie starting with the train sequence?
It better not happen.
Like it's like Tom Holland, like, ugh, and then he's gonna be climbing the train, and he's gonna be like,
Elena, that's her name. God damn
Elena,
it.
yeah, yeah. He'll be climbing the train off the mountain. He's gonna go. Wish I had some like
He's gonna be hanging on
webs
by
or
one
something.
hand. Oh.
Wish I had some webs or something.
Wish I had some web slingers. Oh my
What's the
god.
probability of him like doing a rope swing, and then Marky Mark's like, that's pretty comfortable on you, huh? Or like some bullshit like that. Like you look pretty natural doing that, kid.
He's gonna get off the rope swing. He's like, oh, that was very deja vu.
Yeah, right. Some bullshit like that, you know. Or
Uh, I don't know.
this movie's gonna blow.
It's gonna be bad, dude. I just don't care. I mean, it's gonna be Tomb Raider bad,
Yeah.
and so I just don't care.
Do you think they're gonna be like opening sequence is gonna be Drake's coin, like spinning around, and it's gonna land. And it's gonna focus on the sick Parvis. What's it called? The sick Parvis.
It's gonna be a. It's gonna. I'll tell you what. It's gonna. This is gonna be the opening shot. It's gonna be. It's gonna be backlit desk with like a spotlight on top of it, and it's gonna be the diary, and it's gonna flip open to a random page, and then it's gonna be like, "This is where my story began," and then you're gonna flip through the pages really, really fast, and then you're gonna cut
What
to the
if
last.
Nolan North is playing old Nathan?
But he does. The problem is that like he doesn't look like Nathan
He
Drake.
doesn't.
But I mean, Tom Holland doesn't either.
Yeah.
So, but he
You
doesn't.
know-
But Nolan North doesn't look like an older
You
Tom
know who
Holland.
does look like Nathan Drake, and they should have cast
Uh,
Nathan Fillion.
yeah, Nathan Fillion does. I mean, he looks like older Nathan Drake. Honestly, I mean, like the Mindhunter guy looks like more like a younger version of Nathan Drake than like frickin' Tom Holland.
I could see that. He's taller too.
Yeah, he's a lot taller.
I guarantee we're gonna see his coin. It's gonna say this. It's gonna say
Well,
that
they already show him with the necklace, so that's gonna be
Right.
like a whole thing.
it's gonna come up. The phrase is gonna come up. No, little
Mhm.
Drake's little thing is gonna come up.
Yeah, I can't even remember what the
there's
phrase
going to
is.
be a
I need to
sick-
replay those games.
Here's how the movie's gonna start.
Hmm.
I'm gonna put money down on this.
Okay.
Right, the train scene is probabilities low.
Yeah.
I think the number one high probability of I'm saying like 88.9% probability this movie's gonna start with him in jail. Like a 4 in jail.
Hmm.
He's gonna break it
Just do Uncharted 4.
he's like-
just have him
he's
like
just-
be
he's
in
just-
jail.
against the fucking like brick wall, dusty.
Yeah, but the problem with that is that Tom Holland is not intimidating. So you
And
stick him in a jail cell and he looks like
That's
a lost
fine.
child.
That's who's
He
gonna.
looks like a lost child.
He's gonna get into a fight, like whatever, like in Uncharted.
He's gonna get his ass kicked because he's so small.
And then he's gonna be sitting there, and you're gonna hear like, "You okay, kid?" And it's gonna be like fucking Marky Mark, like,
He's gonna be like, "Hey, you okay, kid?"
Is he wearing
Whatever that
Hawaiian
Boston
shirts too?
accent
By the
is.
way,
The what?
is he wearing Hawaiian shirts? Did they show
He
a
better
picture?
be. I haven't seen a picture of Marky
Okay.
Marcus Sully, but he better be wearing Hawaiian shirts. He better be wearing Hawaiian shirts, and he better consistently have a cigar on the side of his mouth.
And a mustache?
And well, he's got to have a mustache. Are they gonna dye his hair white though?
No, he's too young.
Yeah, but I think even in, or did he? I can't remember now. Because Uncharted, was it Uncharted 2 or 3 where they had the flashback to young
3.
Drake?
That's 3.
Was Sully's hair white in that flashback?
I
Or
thought
was it
so.
darker? I can't remember now.
I can Google.
Maybe it was darker.
No, it's darker. It's brown.
Okay. So yeah, so he'll just be regular hair then. That's lame. I don't want young yet Nathan Drake. I want older Nathan Drake, because older Nathan Drake is the cool shit. That's the first game, that's the second game, that's the third game.
He's
I don't
a
know what he's
stash
even.
though.
He does have a stash.
Yeah, he's a full stash still.
Yeah. He's got to have a stash. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't care about this movie. It's gonna be bad. It's gonna be like all video game movies. The most it can be is like funny bad, but like, I don't know. It's not gonna be like a Doom.
I didn't even watch Tomb Raider.
I didn't watch the last one either, but like from what I'd seen, it was like one of the best video game movies that's been made. But it's like, I don't know. I also just don't care about Tomb Raider that much. Like, I played the games and I think they're enjoyable, but like, I don't know. She's just a bad Indiana Jones ripoff that's a girl, so I'd rather just watch Indiana Jones.
I enjoyed the first game, like the first of the reboot.
I played and beat the first and second games in the reboot. I still have the third game that I haven't. I started playing it and I was like, oh,
What's
this is
the
just
third
the
one?
thing. The third game is, because the first game is she's on an island, and the second game she's in Russia.
Right, that's with the
So
bear,
like
the bears
all
and
her
shit.
like, it's all bears and like her being cold and shit the whole time.
Yeah.
And then the third game starts off and she's like in a jungle somewhere.
What's that one called?
There was like a sequence that she was like in Mexico and she basically like causes like a natural disaster that floods all of Mexico or some shit like that. And then it started off and like she got into a plane crash and she's like in the middle of a jungle somewhere. And I was like, oh, this is just like the same game over again, but in a different area. And I was like, this isn't fun. And so I turned it off.
Oh, Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the same thing.
No idea.
Well, the second one was like, it was the second game and it was called The Rise of the Tomb Raider. And I was like, we already had Rise of the Tomb Raider. It's called the first game.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know why they give them subtitles. I don't know why we can't just do. I think like we've had this discussion before, but I don't know why everything has to have a damn subtitle. I don't know why I can't just have a 3.
Yeah, this is gonna suck.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not happy about it. It just looks lame. I don't care.
There is a new Power Rangers movie.
I saw that. That was interesting to me. I saw that their new studio is taking it over, so it's not. This is the problem that I have, which is that it's not going to be a continuation of the 2017 movie. So the Tommy Oliver tease at the end of that movie makes no goddamn sense now.
But like, that was gonna be a girl anyways.
Yeah, but like, Tommy could be a girl.
Yeah, I guess if you want to not have it be cool.
You could have like the cool. It was going to be like the cool punk rock girl.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know.
But then the rivalry between Jason and Tommy doesn't really make much sense to me.
Well, it does if she's a lesbian.
It still doesn't, because like,
I thought they always fought over the Pink Ranger.
no, they fought over because they had different styles of martial arts and then they were trying to be leaders. Like Jason never.
More of the comic book.
Jason never cared about Kimberly in the show.
No.
You know, so like the idea that like
he did in the 2017 movie. I feel like.
Like, so. I've seen Stranger Things. I'm not. No one's gonna beat Billy.
Right.
To be leader. He's out there fucking like getting stabbed by tentacles and shit. Like, no one's gonna beat him. Also, that cast just sucked in general, so I'm okay with them doing a new one.
Yeah, I didn't super enjoy that cast a lot. So I mean, I'm fine with them doing a new one.
I want them to also.
I like the logo for it more. It looks like a more like classic retro Power Rangers logo than like the 2017 thing.
I just want them to like not have them be like loser outcast kids.
I mean, that's going to be what it is.
But they weren't losers though.
No, what do you mean in the 2017?
In this fucking show.
Oh yeah, no, in the show they're not.
Like
In
they're
the
like
show
on
they're like the
point.
cool kids.
Like they're like martial arts masters. One
Well, they're
guy's
like
a
the heads
geek.
of the youth center. They're like the cool kids that everybody like looks up
Like,
to.
oh my god. Oh, I need to.
Everybody goes to like Jason for advice. Like
I
he's the
need
guy that like
kids with
everybody goes.
attitude. So I'm like, so we're gonna get the. Oh no, we have outcasts. We have literally a hip hop dancer.
Mhm.
We have a cheerleader.
Yeah,
We have like two martial artists, and we have the one kid who's actually a geek.
yeah,
And then we have another ranger who's like a badass martial artist.
yeah,
Oh no, they're out. We're outcasts. Like, we didn't need to do that. You could have
yeah.
problems. You can still have the dynamics of teenagers having issues, and them
Hmm.
still being who they are as in the characters that they were created as. You don't have to make the Black Ranger an Asian guy who's like sad to go home or wherever the fuck his thing
I
is.
don't even remember what his story was.
Like something about like
All I remember was
his
he was sitting on top of a train
it's
car
something
for
like
some
his
reason.
mom, his family's like foreign or something. He's afraid to go home or some bullshit. And like Becky is like gay or something, right? Like Becky G is gay, like Yellow Ranger's gay.
Yeah, I think she said something like that
And
at one
then
point.
Kimberly's like what, like a fucking like cokehead or something. I don't fucking know.
Kimberly was like,
A bully or something,
I think
or
it no, I think it was the thing that like they said that she like slept around or something like
okay.
that, and then
And
she
then
cut off all her hair.
right. And what did Jason do? He's just like a fighter,
Well, Jason was he got drunk and crashed his dad's car,
right? And then Billy
and
was
then
just a black
Billy
nerd.
Billy was just a nerd that got picked on, and also his arm was broken. I
So like
think.
that's like, oh,
Was that
we're
Jason?
gonna change everyone's character except Billy is still a black nerd.
Yeah, still Billy's
Or
still a
still a
nerd.
nerd. Like,
Yeah,
okay, cool, gotcha.
yeah,
That's your ailment.
yeah. Becky G was not that great. I don't know.
And then like, okay, everything about that movie sucked. Rita looked dumb. Zordon looked dumb.
Elizabeth Banks was terrible.
The
She's terrible,
training,
Rita.
like the training sequences, they had powers before they henchioned, which is the worst.
That was the training sequences was like the VR stuff, right? Or it
Like
was
they're
like
like they're,
AR.
those are the rock people, and they were like
Yeah,
fighting in
they
the
like
cave.
beat up like what was putties, their version of
Right,
putties,
the
which
rock
were just
people.
rock people, which looked like Golem from Pokemon.
Mhm.
Uh, and then they had like AR that they would fight with, and then they still got beat up by virtual programs.
I need to real quick. I need to
Also, none of
watch
them could henshin for some reason, which
to
was
the
stupid.
last fight.
Yeah, which was really dumb.
Power
And their outfits
Rangers.
looked dumb because they all look like Iron Man. I didn't like their outfits at
Yeah,
all.
the armor was.
It
Okay,
was
hold
like
on.
the liquid armor thing that I didn't like.
I gotta watch it real fast. Hold on.
Their henshin sequence?
Yeah, I'm watching it real quick. Hold on.
It's terrible. It's like liquid armor that like just goes over them. Like they don't even like really transform it. Just like the suits like take over their bodies.
Okay, so here they are. They're all standing on the platforms.
Don't they like Super Saiyan scream? They're like, ah!
I think so. First off, big. Here's the biggest mistake.
Hmm.
I'm watching on YouTube off of FandangoMovieClips.com. Here's the first big mistake. They're not wearing color coordinated outfits. First problem.
Well, I thought they did.
Not in the morphin scene.
Oh,
Jason's
really?
wearing a black shirt with some red text on it. Okay, that's the red. Becky G's wearing literally a gray shirt and blue jeans.
She was because I remember when they first introduced him, they were wearing color stuff because she
I'm
had
sure.
like a yellow plaid shirt.
Yo,
I
I'm
think
sure
Jason
they
had like a
were,
red
but in the
t-shirt.
morphin sequence, come on now. All
Yeah,
right, so they're standing on the platforms. Alpha 5 looks ridiculous.
yeah, I don't like the look
It's
of Alpha
morphing
5.
time.
Zordon looked fine, but it's also Bryan
All
Cranston.
right, hold on.
So
Hold on a second. Hold on.
but they also don't have morphers. There's like a weird thing they have to like stand on a platform, which is lame. And then their Zords look dumb. I also hate the look of their Zords. Damn, that's a long ass tension sequence.
It is. They're like doing this.
Yeah, I told you it's like liquid metal that
No,
like
I've seen
overtakes
the
their
movie.
bodies.
I saw it in theaters.
Yeah, it's really dumb. I was just because you couldn't remember it, so I was just like, yeah, it's just like.
No, I remember the armor. I didn't remember that they have to like they're like getting cold.
Are they? Oh,
Like it like
oh,
like it looks like they're freezing. They're like,
Oh yeah,
and like it's on their like there's like a moistness on their skin.
yeah,
This is the perfect time to erase all that
yeah.
because no one liked that shit.
No, it was
All
lame.
you need to do is pick 4, 5 adequate teenagers.
Look, just do 6. Just start with Tommy Oliver off the jump because everybody wants Tommy. Just put Tommy in the damn movie.
I mean, you could make the movie Green with Envy and make it that storyline.
That'd be a great storyline to do.
Or they've been Rangers already for however long. They you don't have to.
Honestly, as far as like doing a movie that contains storyline, that would probably be the best because really outside of that show, there's really not anything else that could sustain a movie besides Green with Envy.
The
Because everything
biggest
else is just one
problem
shots.
with this movie that I had was that like you can avoid the training sequences.
Also, the most egregious part was fucking Goldar. Was
Yeah,
not Goldar. It was a weird,
yeah,
entirely gold golem
yeah.
that made no sense. Where's my ape? I want my ape with wings.
You could literally just take the costumes from the show and then
Yeah,
up res them with some extra work, and then they'd be fine.
yeah,
Like it's Power Rangers. It's gonna be Toku. It's okay.
yeah,
Like, but the point that I was saying is like you don't have to do a training montage if you
no,
just make the martial artists already. Like
yeah.
it already works out. It saves you
I
time.
mean, the only one that wasn't a martial artist originally was Billy,
It was
right?
Billy and Kimberly, kinda.
Kimberly wasn't either. Well, Kimberly could have had her cheerleader
She had a
stuff that
she
she could do.
she was athletic, so she could
Billy
like
was the only
figure it
one that
out.
was like, because I
He
remember
was
that
learning.
from rewatching Mighty Morphin a couple of years ago. It was like Billy actually like went to
He
Jason
was
and like
taking
tried to learn
lessons.
martial
He was
arts.
taking lessons
Yeah,
to not be picked on, to have more
yeah,
confidence, right? So like
yeah,
the rest of the cast is like we're like the prime examples of like well our given like thing we're already like no one's
yeah, man. Zach was like a hip hop dancer that he could only like screw screw anybody's ass. Like
he had like the
ah,
pop keto whatever the fuck he called like there was no like need to like make
hip
them
hop
like
keto,
there was no need
much
to
in
make
like
them like
the what was it,
outcasts.
Power Rangers. What was the dark reboot that came out like a couple of years before the movie? That was like
Yeah,
Zach was like a hip hop Aikido assassin. That's
there's
like the
there's
coolest
just
shit.
the Ari Shankar thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's no need to you could really just and honestly, you still want to make them outcasts? Okay, well, guess what? In modern day culture, if you're a martial artist nerd, guess what? You're an outcast. Like,
yeah.
hey, Jason, you want to go hang out this weekend? Sorry, I can't.
I have a competition to go
I got a fucking karate competition in Florida. Okay, you're a nerd. Gotcha.
to.
10-4, copy that. You're a nerd. You don't have to be like, I crashed my dad's car.
Yeah.
And it was a fucking sick car too. Like you don't gotta do that. You don't gotta give
It
them
wasn't even a
edge.
sick car. It was like an
Like
old farm truck.
the whole point is that you don't have to give them edge because they're supposed to be responsible.
Yeah.
That's why Zordon gave them the fucking ability to, I don't know, summon giant robots.
Which looked lame. I don't like the look of the Zords
That's
in
the
that
whole
movie
point as
either.
to why Rita chose Tommy.
Yeah.
Because he had like anger, hate,
He had the
rage,
bad boy energy.
right? So in this movie, Zordon's like, give me all Tommies.
Yeah.
Give me all
Yeah.
Tommies, but they're kind of questioning about who they want to have sex with. Give me all those characters.
Yeah.
Who fucking cares? Make them Power Rangers. Give them a morpher, a
Yeah.
proper one, and make them say it's morphin time and do this.
They better have morphers. That's all I gotta say.
If
That was
it,
the lamest part that they didn't have
all
morphers.
they have to do is go to YouTube and search up Adam Mighty Morphin Returns Morphin Sequence, and you will see Johnny and Bosch
Tyrannosaurus.
do his morph, well,
Yeah.
Mastodon,
Oh,
and the
Mastodon.
morpher explodes like, and there's like electricity and like a fucking guitar riff. That's all you gotta do. And
What's it
kids,
called?
like,
Oh,
search up, go to YouTube,
yeah.
right?
Adam.
Search Adam Morph, just Adam Morphs, and you'll see Johnny and Bosch with short hair. It looks
Is it Broken Morpher?
That's from In Space. That's a really great scene though. But no,
Adam Morphs.
don't watch that
Oh,
one.
2015? Okay.
Most recent one, Adam Park's new morph. This is from 12 years ago, so that could be it too. But Adam Don't Do It is also a very great sequence.
Turbo. Hold on.
It's a scene where he's like in the mid, he's like in a fucking like
Oh, I see it. I think I found it.
He's like fighting in a
There's like
bunch of.
Alpha 2's there for some reason.
He's like fighting in like a fucking warehouse.
Oh, never mind. This isn't the right one then.
It's a crossover episode, and he Here, I'm trying to scroll through it.
Um, I mean, this just looks so cool, man. The morphers look badass.
Is this it
Yeah,
right
this isn't
here?
the right clip. Hold on. Adam morphs. Uh,
There's a bunch of Once a Ranger crossovers, but you don't need to do anything special, man. Like
is it the one with him and bandana? No,
it don't matter. Like there's a bunch of different good ones. Once a Ranger, Operation Overdrive crossovers. There's a scene where he's crossover. He's already in this.
Beast
Like,
morphers.
he's already in the costume, and he does a fucking like sweet ass axe slam, and like fucking thunder explodes out of the ground. Like there's cool shit you can do, and like you don't have to make a new costume because the costumes from the first movie are good enough.
Yeah.
But they look armor, like they already look good.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to like make it like fucking Iron Man 2004 comic book. What's it called? What's that series called? X, whatever it's called. I don't know. But like, you don't gotta do that. It's Power Rangers. Yeah. It's gonna be goofy. You know,
yeah.
like it's okay. It's okay because kids are gonna like it because it's goofy because it's Power Rangers.
Yeah.
And then so will fucking adult nerds. Yeah. Because it's Power Rangers. So you being more authentic is gonna make it more like better.
Right.
You know, whatever the word. It's gonna be a better transition from like stand on these platforms and like pretend you're cold.
Yeah.
And make dumb faces like, whoa, oh. Like, what's the point of saying morphin' time? Like, also, how are you gonna morph when you're in the middle of a fucking fight somewhere else?
Yeah, I don't know. It's so lame.
Like, I don't know.
I would assume that Alpha 5 can just teleport them back and then teleport them out. But it's just like,
did
I don't
they
know.
teleport in the movie?
I can't remember.
I can't remember
I feel
either.
like they did. I don't know.
But no communicator.
I don't remember anything from that movie.
There was no communicator. So no sweep, boop, 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 boop. And no morpher. No morphin' time the way it's good. No opening with the thing. No power coin, really.
No.
Like, what was that? What was the movie?
I don't know.
All you have to do is, like, watch the show.
Yeah.
Watch the movie and go, I got it.
Yeah.
I can write that movie in 10 minutes. Right? Okay, boom. You pick 5 actual teenagers.
Yeah.
Right, who can do martial arts. They have to be able to do them. Because you have to have good fights.
You can go to, like, a karate competition
and
find
you have to have
kids.
good actual martial arts kids who can do martial arts. Mm-hmm. And then have them, like, or quasi do them. So that way they can fight putties. Opening scene of the movie. Fucking whatever, Lord Zed's castle or fucking Rita's castle, whatever you want to do. Opening scene there. Quick cut to the earth. Zoom in, like, whoosh, cut in. They're in a park somewhere. Some random beautiful day, park, summer. And it's an open field. And then fucking putties are fighting the Power Rangers before they morph.
Right.
And they're punching them in the Z's if they're Zed putties. And they fucking and they explode. All right, and the monster comes.
You should have Zed in the new movie, not Rita.
Yeah, absolutely.
Zed's a way cooler villain.
And the monster fucking comes. The actual kaiju comes.
Yeah.
Right? And then someone makes a Cody whip. Like, oh shit, you know, whatever the fuck they gotta do. And then it's
shit.
And then it's fucking morphin' time. And then the fucking credits start.
Yeah.
And the morphin' sequence is the fucking credits of like the director and the writer. I fucking told you, dude. I already know. I already fucking got it, man.
Just write the movie, man. Just write into Bandai or whoever's making it, and
it's ridiculous.
Be like, hey, I got a script for
you. There are so many movies that are so hard to write, like Star Wars. Yeah. You know, like that's hard to write to write a new Star Wars movie. Power Rangers is not hard to write.
No.
It's not hard to write. You literally Google Super Sentai monsters and go, who do I want to cast in this movie? Yeah. Don't just give me one.
For a feature length movie, you shouldn't do one.
Give me like 3.
Yeah.
Cast Goldar. Cast the whole crew.
Cast Goldar. Cast the weird man who makes monsters, whatever the fuck his name
Tinker. Whatever the fuck his name
Tinker.
Tinker guy. Gotta put him in there. Right? You gotta cast everybody. Then we have the whole castle.
Yeah.
Right? And then you gotta fucking cast like... Now here's the problem. Right? What if they cast... Do you remember Alpha from Turbo on.
No, I
So
can't.
his something happens to his wiring,
Okay.
and his personality changes,
Huh.
and he's kind of racist.
Wait, what?
Yeah. You remember this?
No, I don't
You
remember
don't?
this.
Okay, you don't remember this. Okay, before we end the podcast, I'm gonna show you this because we're at
He's
hour.
kind of racist.
Like not like he's not saying racist things, but I'm saying like the
Like the
portrayal.
voice is racist?
Kinda, yeah. Here, person.
Okay.
Let's see. Alpha 5, new. Oh gosh, hold on. I'm trying to find like the right way to describe it in Google. Um, trying to search new personality. Turbo. Da, 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 da. I can't figure out the right words to search.
I don't know. Because
Whatever.
I can't even help you because like I don't even know.
His hold on, Alpha 6 maybe is what they call him, maybe.
Yeah.
Um. Oh gosh. He's like, yo, man. Like I can't describe it. He like is not alpha. He's like more like
Okay.
it's like kind of like a weird portrayal of the character. Whatever. If I find it later, I'll send it to you. But
Interesting.
yeah, that's not good. But hey, you know what? That's the podcast, guys.
That's the podcast, man.
Thanks guys for watching. Thanks guys for listening. We'll be back next week. More podcast, more
Yes.
topics. Not early Saturday morning where everyone's tired. We'll see y'all back next week.
That's true.